Hey kids, so when I booted up Scream Fortress for the first time this year, and I saw a new map literally named Los Meutos, well, you can probably guess that I got super excited. Why? Well, if you couldn't guess by the name, Los Muertos is based on Dia de los Muertos, or just Dia de los Muertos, meaning Day of the Dead, which is one of my absolute favorite holidays that's ever been celebrated in the world. Ever. Other than Hanami. But the reason I love it so much is for the colors, the festivities, and most importantly, boys, the food. It's truly something special, and seeing it represented in my favorite game, Team Fortress 2, it just makes me happy, you know what I mean? It makes me feel good inside. But yeah, just before I get into the video, I need to let you all know that I apologize for my abhorrent Spanish. I failed my GCSE when I did it. And my Spanish teacher literally told me on results day it was a waste of her time teaching me anything at all. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing in the comments a bunch of people telling me that my Spanish is shit. So let's just get that out of your system now. It's okay. I won't cry too much. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you know, but in case you don't, let's go over what the holiday actually is. Dia de los Muertos is the celebration of when the departed ancestors come back to visit the land of the living for just a night. It is a joyful celebration instead of a mourningful one. That's like the big thing about it, is people are happy, they're not just crying over dead ancestors, they're celebrating the life of them. Now, it's said to have origins in the Aztec Empire, as the Aztec people had made celebrations similar to it throughout the year. However, nowadays it's primarily celebrated in Mexico. Although that's not to say that other cultures don't partake in the festivities, such as in Costa Rica. Now, despite what I just said about the ancestors coming down for just a day, the holiday is celebrated from October 31st to November 2nd. November 1st celebrates when the infants and children who died come back to the land of the living, and November 2nd is for the adults. October 31st is basically when people create the altars, but I'll go more into the altars in a minute because it's got a special name. And it's also like in the map. Right, so now you know about the holiday itself, let's get on to the map itself, which is jam-packed full of traditional items even before you spawn in. On the loading screen itself you can see petals, but not just any petals, specifically orange petals, which if you didn't know are abundant not just in the map itself, but iconic to the holiday as they are Aztec marigolds. Now Aztec marigolds, Tagetes erecta is what they're known in Latin, is native to the Americas, and on the Day of the Dead, it's put out on the graves of the deceased as a traditional flower used to honor the dead itself. And the distinct smell of the flower is said to guide the dead back to the living world. Like, okay, Tagetes erecta, I'm pretty sure that's how you're supposed to say it, but I can't speak Latin, man. Like, no one can. I was doing a video where I was trying to translate, like, the spells which the mercs use, but, like, I'm pretty sure it's not even Latin that they're speaking. Like, it sounds Latin, but I'm pretty sure it's just made up. Now typically flowers are put in ofrendas, but we'll get into that in a bit, as the one other place where the marigold petals are used in the map being the bridge that formed to take you to the underworld in game. This is clearly a reference to Coco and is not actually like the only reference in the map to Coco. But as far as I can tell, there's no stories about marigold bridges being an actual thing celebrated in the festival. It seems it was just made up for the film, which is cool but also kinda sad. Now when you spawn in, the first thing that you'll see is this big old pumpkin. Now as I said in my last video, pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns are typically an American thing, so why are they here in a map that's so clearly based on a Mexican town? Well, I believe the reason for that lies in the carvings of the pumpkin. Look at that design. This is clearly based on calaveras, which is a human skull, typically made from clay, which is then painted with beautiful colours and designs. These skulls are then put up on display as an offering on the ofrenda with the marigolds. Now in Aztec culture, skulls were used to represent a rebirth of life, and they were also decorated in this same sort of way. And hey look, there's some that are scattered across the map, some are even in spawn. Now in recent times, there are sugar skulls which are called alfenique, which as you can probably guess from the fact that it's made from sugar, are edible. They're not in the map or anything, I just thought it was pretty cool. Thought you'd like to know really. Seeing you in the video to this point. Nearly 5 minutes in. Thanks for staying around. But yeah, so why is this pumpkin carved like one? Well, I believe that it could be a reference to the fact that in the USA, where TF2 takes place, more and more families are celebrating Dias los Muertos. So perhaps this is a way to show the two traditions crossing over in game. I don't know, I think it's quite sweet. That's purely my speculation. I don't know, I haven't talked to like the map creators, like I probably couldn't even if I wanted to, but yeah, I would like to. I'd like to see why they made this map. It'd be quite cool to talk to them, but yeah. Anyways, oh yeah, you know what else is pretty sweet? If you like look above and spawn, what do you see? You see papel picado, and so many cuts of it at that. If you don't know, that's tissue paper that is cut in the stack of itself, creating many banners at once. But look in the game! Oh my god, I actually freaking love this, man. Typically, there's floral patterns and skeletons that are used, but in Team Fortress 2, we got a spy cutout, the TF2 logo as a cutout. We got both floral and skeleton patterns, which is weird, it's a coincidence because I actually didn't know that when I made the script, but then I went to take a look back in game and they actually were there, but I put it back in the script. It was kind of cool. I mean, like, I didn't actually expect that. But yeah, we also got like the coolest thing, which is the team's logos as cutouts on either side of the map. If you're on blue side, you have a blue team cutout. On the red side, you got a red team cutout. Like, isn't that like the coolest thing? I don't know, I think that's sick. I think that's actually really sick. I'm really happy about like a little attention to detail there. But yeah, now I do want to mention something now, which I spoke about before, ofrendas. Now you may be wondering what they actually are, because I've mentioned it like 5 different times already. Well, essentially, it's not an offering, but rather the offering that's placed upon the altar, that's decorated with many, many different things the departed loved in life, along with the aforementioned items I said before, such as the marigolds. Now other things offered include food and drink, and now you're seeing why I love this holiday so much. The one thing I thought was referenced in game, which was the food, being pan los muertos, which is traditionally baked bread that gets offered, but it's not actually a reference to that. Basically outside Red Spawn there's a little wall that's measured saying pan rojo, but that's actually just red bread being translated literally into Spanish. It's still cool because it's like a literal translation, but it's not referencing the food, which is kind of what I was hoping for, because you know I like food, that's my whole thing. Yeah. Speaking of like Spanish, there's so many signs in the entire map that are like in Spanish. I think it's super cool. Like there's so many of them. It should take forever for me to literally translate all of them and show off in like the video. But like I won't subject you to that and my awful Spanish any longer, so I'll just kind of like put the translation on screen as I'm talking now. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah. Anyways, a huge thing I forgot to mention was that there's no pictures on the ofrenda, which is such a huge missed opportunity because it's so integral to the holiday itself. Yeah, it's kind of sad, but at least we still got the candles, which is cool. But yeah, nah, this map is full of so much amazing culture and references, and I adore it for that. I could honestly keep going with the huge like cathedral in the town plaza, or the coffins that are actually in the map, or the fact that if you like break out of bounds and go into like the behind of the mountain where the town is set, you can see like a bunch of like graves. But yeah, I think like I should probably leave it here for now because I've been talking for ages, and like yeah, that's kind of it. I got a test now. Please like wish me luck for that, boys. But yeah, that's basically the video. Please do me a favor and go subscribe to Density because there's no segue here. I just like his videos, even if he is a huge teabagging Marv nowadays. But yeah, nah, please let me know what you think of the video. Okay, thanks, bye.